Hari Om. Om Sahana Vavatu, Sahanau Bhunaktu, Sahaviryam Karavavahai, Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. We are reading Abhijnana Shakuntalam, the best kriti of Kavi Kulaguru Kalidasa. So we are in the fourth act and we just completed, I think, the verse number 13. Even the verse number 15 we completed. Utpakshmanoho nayanayoho paruddhavrittim bashpam kuru sthirataya viratanubandham asmin alakshita natonnata bhumi bhage marge padani khalute vishami bhavanti. So better control your tears, oh dear Shakuntala, because you are trying to control them so that they should not fall down, and for that you are trying hard. Utpakshmanoho, your eyelashes are raised up, and because the eyelashes are raised up, you won't be able to see the terrain, the high and the low terrain. Natonnata bhumi bhaga and padanite vishami bhavanti. There is a danger of faltering, stumbling against something and falling down, so don't do that. Bashpam kuru sthirataya virata anubandham. Check the flow of tears. Anubandha, the flow. Viratam kuru, bashpam kuru sthirataya virata anubandham. So the flow should be checked. And alakshita natonnata bhumi bhage padani khalute vishami bhavanti. So Shakuntala is very sad. All girls are sad while they leave their parents' home, and she has been crying. And then Sharangrava, this will go on like this, right? So Sharangrava is a person, again, my favorite Siddhanta, everybody's favorite Siddhanta, that how Kalidasa has portrayed these two Batus, the two Rishikumaras, Sharangrava and Sharadvata. Sharangrava is little like very practical, very like straightforward, not very sentimental and all that. Sharadvata is little softer. And Sharangrava says now, Bhagavan, Odakantam snigdho janaha anugantavyaha iti shruyate. When you want to say goodbye to your dear people, you can reach them till a water place, some pond, some reservoir, some river, till then, Odakantam. Like nowadays we go, to reach out the guest till their car. Or wave hands from our balconies, So normally when guests come or when they are leaving our house, we say farewell and goodbye to them in a nice manner. It's not that they go, we shut the door and chat amongst them and say what type of guest we had, Not like that. We normally go till some place to escort them, So escorting. Odakantam snigdhaha janaha anugantavyaha iti shruyate tadidam sarastiram. Now here is the bank of this pond, sarastiram, the lake. Atra sandishya pratigantum arhati. Here is a shishya who tells his guru to go back. Pratigantum arhati. Now you deserve to turn back and go back to ashrama after giving your message here. Till Sarastira, you have accompanied your dear daughter Shakuntala. Now it's high time that you go back to the ashrama. But before that, of course, you have to give some message to be delivered to the king, and the message for the daughter as well. How should she behave once she goes back to her husband's house? Atra sandishya pratigantum arhati. And Kano, yes, high time now, I have to leave. Tenahi imam kshira vrikshachayam ashrayamaha. Kshira vriksha, kshira is milk. Now does the tree give milk? The tree oozes that milky sap, rubber-like sap, So the trees which ooze out, which, emit such type of milky white-colored sap, they are called kshira vriksha. Okay? So this could be like a gum, which is sticky, or it could be like a rubber plant. It is really the white sap of rubber. Okay? The liquid rubber. Now in Kerala, everywhere you go around, we see the rubber plantations. Tenahi imam Kshira Vrukshachayam. And basically, Kshira Vruksha is not only that, they emit the milky sap and all, but they are shady trees. They are widely spread, horizontally spread, and have a very dense shadow, and therefore Kshira Vrukshachayam, there has to be a chaya. So something like banyan tree, ashwatha tree, mango tree and all that. Kshira Vrukshachayam ashrayamaha sarve parikramya sthitaha. So they move towards that Kshira Vruksha and they stand there. Kashyapa thinks for himself. Atmagatam. किन्नु खलु तत्र भवतः दुष्यन्तस्य युक्तरूपम् अस्माभिः संदेष्टव्यम्. What type of sandesha I should give to tatra bhavatah dushyantasya? Whenever Kashyapa or Kanva is referring to Dushyanta, it is always with respect. Okay, and this is to be marked because this stands against, the portrayal of Dushyanta in the Mahabharata or in the Jataka Kathas. We have seen the sources, the Kathahari, Jataka, etc. So, as contradictory to that, Kalidasa Dushyanta influences us. He really makes an impression on us that he is really a noble born king, and he truly loved Shakuntala. Whatever happened in the 5th act is just because of the curse of Durvasas, and the king is blemishless. So to make him free from all the faults, all the blemishes, all the criticism, everywhere Dushyanta is referred to as Tatra Bhavan. So Tatra Bhavatah Dushyantasya Yukta Rupam. Some befitting message has to be given, Yukta Rupam. So what should I tell him as a message? Sandesha iti chintayati. So he keeps on mulling over that, pondering over that, thinking over that. Shakuntala Janantikam. Janantikam, not to Kanava. He speaks to her Sakhis, both the Sakhis. Hala Pashya, maybe Priyambada or Anasuya. Hala Pashya. Nalini Patrantaritam api sahacharam apashyanti atura chakravaki aharatati dushkaramaham karomi. Very nice sentence. Nalini Patrantaritam api. This Chakravaki, the female goose bird, Nalini, she is separated by one single lotus leaf. Nalini Patra Antarita api Sahacharam apashyanti. She is separated from her mate, from her companion, and therefore apashyanti, not able to see him. Sahacharam apashyanti atura, very excited. Atura Chakravaki Aratati, she is yelling loudly, Dushkaram aham karomi. Now this Chakravaki is Shakuntala herself. This is not a Chakravaki, this is Chakravaki, she herself, she says, Dushkaram aham karomi. I am doing really a very difficult thing, For every girl, where the house in which she has grown up, where she has been nourished, she has to leave it in a moment and go and settle down in a house which is alien to her, which is not known to her at all. So if you uproot a plant from one place and try to grow it at another place, plant it at another place, will it really grow there? There is always the 50-50 chances, what we can say statistically. Sometimes the plants uprooted, they do grow at different terrain. Sometimes they don't survive, right? So dushkaram aham karomi. So this is a very difficult task for her, and especially because for last 5-6 months there is no contact of Dushyanta at all. The person who loved her so much, and whom she loved so intensely and not even cared for the permission of her brother, of her kith and kin and her father. She didn't wait for their permission and married him in that madness of love. And now she is leaving all people aside, behind. how will she survive in that country? And secondly, she is in the ashrama, she is a hermit girl. How will she survive in a city, in the capital city? So there are so many thoughts, for every married girl now, because, the girls and the boys, they go on dates, they meet hundreds of times before they really actually get married. For them, it's all easy, but for those who have met the groom only once and now after marriage they are going there, it's really very, very difficult. Now, dushkaram aham karomi iti. Now here I would like to read some portion. You all have heard Professor Vasant Kumar Bhatt, right? Last Sunday you have heard him, and he has done this. I showed you this book of his. It's in Hindi, Abhijnana Shakuntal ka Patha Paramarsha. And he has gone through many Kashmir Sharda script manuscripts also, and from what he has collected from there, that is very, 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 what you can say, informative, and it increases your knowledge, and it gives you an insight into how and why you should do the critical edition of a thing. What are the different critical apparatus which you have to take into consideration, which pathas you have to take into consideration, and then decide for yourself, oh, I don't want this patha, but you should have some justification for rejecting a patha or for accepting any patha. Patha is variant readings. It could be a word, it could be a sentence, it could be paragraphs. So now what he has come across is, very interesting thing. I was personally very, very impacted by this, and therefore I requested him to give this lecture. So he has referred to the versions of the southern part, Devanagari, then the southern part, then Mithila, and then Sharada. Okay. And then Sharada script also he has taken into consideration. And this Shakuntala's, this dialogue, Nalini Patrantaritam Chakravaki Aratati, though it is Janantika, there is no reference earlier to Chakravaka or Saras or this or that. How all of a sudden this comment would come from Shakuntala? One may wonder. And for that he gives some answer. And he says there is this dialogue, or rather a conversation between three Sakhis, Shakuntala, Anasuya and Priyambada, and this is all retained in the Kashmiri Vachanaki Sharada Pandulipiya. In Kashmir, he got some Sharada manuscripts written in Sharada script, and there the dialogue is, the conversation is complete, which provides you the context, why all of a sudden Shakuntala talks of that. It is not all of a sudden, there is some Purva Pithika for that, and that, it starts with Anasuya. Anasuya says, Sakhi, Naha. And this comes, when Shakuntala is like saying, Vatsa kim sahavasa parityaginim mam anusarasi. Just go back a verse, okay? And Shakuntala's dialogue. She is addressing that Mrugavatsa. Kim mam sahavasa parityaginim anusarasi achira prasutaya jananya vina vardhitaha eva idanimapi maya virahitam tvam tataha chintayishyati nivartasva tavat. So there is the description of the Mayuraha Tyaktanartanaha and Galita Pandupatrani, of the creepers and all that. Everybody in the hermitage is grieving, is saddened at the very thought that Shakuntala is leaving. On that background, Anasuya says, Sakhi, न सह आश्रम पदे अस्ति कोपि चित्तवान् यः त्वया विरह्यमाणया न उत्सुकः कृतः अद्य. There is not a single person in this ashrama, O Shakuntala, one who has chitta, one who is conscious. Let it be the creeper, Vanajjosna, let it be the tree, let it be the Mayura, let it be the Mruga, or let it be the human beings like us. ourselves and Kashyapa. Na saha ashramapade asti kopi chittavan yaha tvaya viraihamanaya. At the thought of being separated from you, na utsukaha kritaha, who has not been made very anxious and concerned about you and saddened because of that. Pashyatavat. And then she says, Pashyatavat padmini patrantaritam vyaritaha na anuvyaharati priyam mukhod mrinalaha tvai drishtim dadati chakravakaha. Look at this chakravaka. For example, is there a single being in this ashrama who is not saddened because you are leaving? No, not a single thing. Look at this chakravaka. So here comes the chakravaka, okay? And because before that there is a prefixing statement. This chakravaka tvai drishtim dadati. He is looking at you. Chakravakaha tvai drishtim dadati. In fact, there is a visheshana for chakravaka. Mukhodvyudham mrinalaha. He is carrying mrinala, the lotus stalk, in his beak. That, he wants to feed his Priya, his beloved. And that's why he's carrying it. But even though Priya is yelling at him, Priya is calling for him, patrantarita vyaritaha api. Though he is being called, na anuvyaharati priyam. He is not responding to his beloved. He has forgotten that he is carrying that mrinala, the lotus stalk, in his mouth to be offered to his Priya. He is looking intently at you because you are leaving. Such a nice thing, right? And then Shakuntala says, Janantikam. Then she says, Hala Pashya Nalini Patrantaritam Sahacharam Apashyanti Atura Chakravaki. She has been crying and crying, and the Chakravaka is not paying attention to her. So I have been thinking of Dushyanta for so many months, and my Chakravaka, my Dushyanta, is not responding to me at all. And therefore I am leaving now this safe, secured place and going to an unknown place. Indeed, I am doing something very, very difficult, right? And then this dialogue has some sense because there is a preceding conversation by Anasuya. Chakravaki aratati dushkaram khalu aham karomi iti. And then Priyambada's dialogue is also there. Priyambada says, Sakhi ma evam mantraya. Don't think like that. Eshapi priyena vina. There is this verse in our Kale's edition. It is in the mouth of Anasuya. Now here it comes as Priyambada's dialogue. She says, Eshapi priyena vina gamayati rajanim visurana dirgham guru api viraha dukkham asha bandhaha sahayati. Vishada dirgham rajanim esha api priyena vina gamayati. This Chakravaki will also spend the entire long night, which has been covered with all the sorrow because she is not able to see her Priya, and therefore Vishada. And therefore, if you are all alone, the same night which is of 7 or 8 hours, it becomes too long for you. Ratra sarata sarat nahi. We say, no, I can't spend this night, because you are not winking even for a moment, and then the night seems to be very long for you. If you sleep very nicely, the night quickly passes like this. Oh, I just slept and I woke up because you are contented, you are not thinking anything, and then you have a sound sleep. Otherwise, the Ratri becomes Dirghatara, very stretched out. It has the same 7 or 8 hours, but then it looks like as if very long one. So, Guru api viraha dukkham asha bandhaha sahayati. So, whatever is the viraha dukkha, howsoever heavy it may be, howsoever intense it may be, the sutra, the thread of asha, hope, yes, I will go there, he will meet me, he will welcome me, and he will take care of me, all that asha इमले बांधतात आशाचे आशेवर, राईट. सो आशा बंध गुरु अपि विरह दुःखम साहयती. सो लाईक दॅट there are so many occasions here where he has given the pathas, and I have selected a few, but I don't think there will be occasion to discuss all these. So but then his lecture must have been good enough to give you some more illustrations in this. I personally like this because all of a sudden Chakravaki doesn't come in there, and all the conversation takes place in a very casual and very natural manner. When Shakuntala says that, to the mriga, you please go back, you have survived even after your mother's death, will you not survive after me? You will. Tataha, my Tata Kashyapa will take care of you, so nobody is indispensable, as I was saying the last time. So like that, but then this comes in a flow, I feel, and therefore sometimes, we have to take into consideration the other manuscripts to make it understandable and make it fall in the place. Otherwise it comes all of a sudden, Kashyapa is thinking there, standing under the Kshira Vriksha Chaya, and Shakuntala all of a sudden talks about, oh, Dushkaram aham karomi. Why all of a sudden? There is a preceding conversation to that. And then Anasuya says, Sakhima evam mantrayasva. And then here also, we saw in the Kashmiri Sharada Vachana, Sharada manuscript version, it is by Priyambada because the earlier dialogue was by Anasuya. So Anasuya, Shakuntala, Priyambada. So this falls in line. And then Priyambada saying it becomes more like logical, because Priyambada is very close to her, Anasuya is little older. We saw every time I have been making this comment. And Priyambada, she says, that, what is that? When they decide that this Esha Shapa Vrittantaha Dvayoho Eva Nau Mukhe Tishtadu Ko Nama Ushnodakena Nava Mallikam Sinchati. Who will water, hot water to the creeper of Mallika? We are not going to tell the Shapa incident to Shakuntala, right? So that was the dialogue of Priyambada, and therefore Priyambada gives that hope to her that, Guru api viraha dukkham asha bandhaha sahayati. Guru api viraha dukkham. Similar verse comes in the Meghaduta. Asha pashaha kusuma sadrusham prayasho yangananam sadyah pati pranay hridayi viprayoge ranadhi. We have a popular subhashita, Ashanam manushyanam kachid ascharya shrinkhala yaya baddha pradhavanti muktastishthanti panguvat, right? So Asha is that hope, that lady, and that lady because in, I think, Bhartruhari's Vairagya Shataka somewhere, he has described Asha as a Chirataruni, Chirayuvati. She doesn't leave me, everybody else leaves me, a yogi says, in the Vairagya Shataka. Everybody else leaves me and I can get rid of everybody. I can be dispassionate about everybody. But this Asha, she is sadhvi. She is pativrata. She doesn't leave me at all. So even if I don't have anything to eat now, there is Asha that somebody will come and offer me some bhiksha. Right? So Asha is a greatest of the pativrata. She doesn't leave a human being at all. So jokes apart, but then Guru api viraha dukkham asha bandhaha sahayati, especially for the Angananam, Kalidasa says, this is kusuma sadrisham hridayam sadyah pati hridayam viprayoge runadhi. The hearts of these ladies are so soft like kusuma, like the flower, but then this asha, pasha, they tie it with asha and therefore the heart doesn't fall down. That means they don't die. The ladies don't die thinking and hoping that they will meet their beloveds after some time. Esha api priyena vina gamayati rajani vishada dirghataram guru api viraha dukkham asha bandhas sahayati. A nice generalization. So arthantaranyasa alankara. Okay. Kashyapa says, Sharangrava, now he was thinking, iti chintayati, right? And therefore he has thought of it now. Sharangrava, iti tvaya madvachanat sa raja Shakuntalam puraskritya vaktavyaha. Iti vaktavyaha sa raja. Thus you have to speak to that king, madvachanat, on behalf of me. How? Shakuntalam puraskritya, presenting Shakuntala to him. Here is Shakuntala, your beloved wife, and Kashyapa has sent her to you with this message. Okay? So, ititvaya madvachanat saraja Shakuntalam puraskritya vaktavyaha. Vachyastvaya madvachanat saraja comes in Raghuvamsha, 14th Sarga, when Lakshmana leaves Sita in the forest and goes back, Sita Mai, she tells Lakshmana, Vachyastvaya vachanat saraja. And then, Yad ahasihi, samlokapavadat ahasihi mam, shrutasya kimte sadrisham kulasya. Does it behove you, your family, and your shruta, your kirti? Would a king leave his pregnant wife like this just by his loka apavadad, ahasihi, you are abandoning me, you are discarding me. Shrutasya kimte sadrisham kulasya vachyastvaya madvachanat saraja. So this madvachanat vaktavyaha, madvachanat vachyaha, this comes often in Kalidasa. Sharangrava says, Ajna apayatu bhavan, says, I am ready to take your Ajna, whatever you want to say. Very beautiful verse. The 17 and the 18 are the last two in the Shloka Chatushtaya. Asman sadhu vichintya sanyamadhanan uchchaih kulam chatmanaha Shardula vikridita vritta. Asman sadhu vichintya sanyamadhanan uchchaih kulam chatmanaha tvayasya kathamapya bandhava kritam sneha pravrittinchatam samanya pratipatti purvakamiyam dareshu drishyatvaya bhagyayattamatah paranna khalu tad vachyam vadhu bandhubhihi. I think I should read the Raghava Bhatta's commentary over that. This is very nice commentary. For these two verses, I think I would read it word by word if possible. So, Asmaniti, Sanyamadhanan, Sanyamaha eva dhanam yesham. So, how are the rishis here? Asmadrishaha, Kashyapa is indicating to him and the other fellow beings. Asman sadhu vichintya sanyamadhanan. We are all the rishis, the munis, staying in the forest, secluded, away from the city, culture and all. And for us, sanyama is our dhana. Sanyama, according to the yoga, is trayamatra sanyamaha, trayamekatra sanyamaha, that is dharana, dhyana and samadhi. So, Sanyama is Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. These are all yoga people practicing yoga. Antaranga sadhana, basically. Antaranga sadhana. So, Trayamekatra Sanyamaha. Sanyamaha eva dhanam yesham. Tan, Asman, Sadhu, Samyaktaya vichintya. So, you know us to be the people who are not rich in dhana, like the material, empirical wealth, but our wealth is our restraint, our control over everything. Even our speech we have control. Okay? Samyaktvaya vichintya. Then Atmanaha uchcham kulam. Then uchchaih kulam cha atmanaha. So you have to think two things. One is Asman sadhu vichintya. How are we? Sanyamadhanan. Secondly, you have to think of your high lineage. Uchchaihi cha kulam atmanaha. Sadhu vichintya. So this also, vichintya is dehali dipakanyaya, falls for both the things. Asman sanyamadhanan vichintya, atmanaha cha uchchaihi kulam vichintya. Here uchchaihi comes as adverb and not as a visheshana. Okay? And then Tvai asyaha kathamapi abandhava kritam sneha pravrittim chatam. Tvai asyaha कथमपि अबान्धवकृतां स्नेहप्रवृत्तिं त्वयि अस्याः स्नेहप्रवृत्तिं, हर फ्लो ऑफ अफेक्शन एंड लव, स्नेहस्य प्रवृत्ति, फ्लो, स्नेह, लव, कस्याः अस्याः, शकुन्तला's continuous love for you. Flow of love means what? Continuous love for you, त्वयि asyaha sneha pravrittim. And then he makes a comment here that is very important. Asyaha tvayi tam sneha pravrittim sneha pravaham etc. And asyaha tvayi ityanena, by this, her love for you, not your love for her. Right? There is a difference. Not tava asyam sneha pravrittim. He doesn't talk about his love for Shakuntala. He hasn't seen it. But he has seen, after coming here at least for a while, asyaha sneha pravrittim tvai. And what is the significance of that? Raghava Bhatta brings it so nicely, He says, asyaha tvai ityanena bhavad darshanam arabhya. Right from the first sight, when she saw you, when she met you, pratikshana, every moment, upachiyamana, increasing, gathering together, collecting, collectively, ragasagaratvam dhvanitam. Raga, not Marathi raga, krodha. Raga is anuraga, prema. So raga sagaratvam, this is the ocean of affection, ocean of love which she has. As the ocean, it's unfathomable, and you can't, have the water content measured as you can measure the water content of a pond or a lake. Even sometimes the nadis, because the rivers get dried up in the summer season, so there is no water. But for ocean, upachiyamana, all the rivers, they flow into the ocean, and therefore the water content of the ocean never gets dried up. Samudra kadi sukat nahi, nadya suktat, right? And therefore upachiyamana, because this upachaya happens, whatever water flows here, samudram pratigacchati. Whatever water on the earth, samudram pratigacchati, tadeva sarvadeva namaskaraha keshavam pratigacchati. Right? That is the verse. So, bhavad darshanamaarabhya pratikshana upachiyamana raga sagaratvam dhvanitam. What a beautiful comment on this. Ataeva tava asyam iti na uktam. And therefore, he doesn't say your love for her, he says her love for you. It's a continuous love, right from the day she saw you till today, it is pratikshana vardhamana. Yadyapi nayakayoho paraspara anuraga jivatuhu eva ratihi tathapi asyaha preshanena prakritatvat tathoktihi. It is granted that nayakayoho, that nayakasya nayikayascha, nayakayoho, this is combining both nayaka and nayika. It has to be a mutual love for the fructification, for the consummation of marriage and all. It has to be mutual, but the groom is never sent from his place to another place. It is the girl who is sent from her father's place to her husband's place, and therefore asyaha preshanena prakritatvat. What is the prakrita here? What is proposed here is she is being sent away, and therefore I can talk of her love for you. I can't measure your love for her, but I can certainly measure how deeply she is in love with you. Okay? So all these things come in this Tvai asyaha sneha pravrittim chatam, that also vichintya. Tvai asyaha sneha pravrittim, and that for that sneha pravritti there is a visheshana abandhavakritam. Abandhavakritam sneha pravrittim स्नेह प्रवृत्तिं विशिनष्टि कथमपि वचनेन परद्वारेङ्गितेन वा न बान्धवैः कृताम् अन्यकर्तृकतां प्रयत्नेन निषेधता कविना अस्याः स्नेहप्रवृत्तेः स्थायित्वं स्थिरीकुर्वता कः अपि लोकोत्तरः चमत्कारातिशयः ध्वन्यते. This is not that her bandhavas, her aptajana, arranged this marriage, she had chosen you as the groom. So it is a bandhava kritam. Na paradvara ingitenava. She is not triggered or motivated to love you, indicated by somebody else or suggested by somebody else. She has taken up that, and therefore it is her bhavatishaya, her prematishaya anena vyajyate. And this is something chamatkarakari. As Abhinavagupta would say in the Rasa Siddhanta, his theory of Rasa Siddhanta, Kopi Hridaya Samvadi Chamatkarakari Rasaha. Hridaya Samvadi. Ye Hridayi che te Hridayi, like that. It touches the hearts of each other. It doesn't require the brain. Rasa has to be felt. It is not to be analyzed. Though we have 4 theories of analysis of the rasa theory, rasa is to be felt, it is to be experienced, right? And therefore, lokottaraha chamatkaratishayah anena vyajyate. And then he says, samanya pratipatti purvakamiyam dareshu drishyātvaya. He doesn't expect a special treatment for his daughter Shakuntala. He says, Tvaya iyam drishya. Okay, you should look at her. You should treat her. Look at her is treat her. Behave with her like what? Samanya pratipatti purvakam. Like you treat your other wives. Right? Bahuvallabhaha rajanaha. Okay, there are many wives. Kashyapa is aware of that. He being a king, he must have been a much married man. So, but samanya pratipatti purvakam iyam drishyatvaya. Samanya sadharani ya pratipattihi. Samanyaha samanyam yam gauravam yat gauravam tat purvakam dareshu strishu bahuvachanena purvoktasya yuktata dhvanyate. Purvoktasya yuktata nama, earlier in the first chapter, first anka, we have seen bahuvallabhaha rajanaha, right? And therefore, samanya pratipurvakamiyam dareshu. Dara is wife. Dara is wife. And this is nitya bahuvachana pullinga shabda. Isn't it interesting? Sanskrit is perhaps the only language where we have word for wife in all 3 genders. Masculine, feminine and neuter also. How can wife be in neuter gender? How can a wife, today's, what is that, LBT and all that, it is LGBT, it is possible, but not in my generation, right? And therefore, I can't even digest these things. There could be a man who is Dara, there has to be a woman who is Dara. So, Bharya or Patni, etc., these are the feminine gender words, Strilinga Shabdas. Kalatram is a neuter gendered word, Kalatram. Kadyate, Palyate, iti Kalatram. Kadyate, Palyate, iti Kalatram. And then Daraha is Pullinga Nitya Bahuvachana. Daraha Kasmat, Darayati Bhratrun, iti Daraha. Very interesting etymology. Dharayati bhratrun iti daraha. Suppose there are 2-3 brothers staying in a house. The elder one gets married. He makes his house separate. The other 2 brothers stay with their parents. The second brother gets married. He also goes in 1 BHK or 2 BHK. He buys another house. Now this is the situation, especially in the city life. In the towns, even now, there are joint families, 2-3 sons, their wives, and the sisters, sister-in-law, all these, the joint and extended families you can see in the villages, not more in the metros, not more in the cities. So, bhratrun dharayati iti daraha, till one gets married, all brothers live together in a very coherent manner, without any jagada, without any strife. Once a woman comes from outside, then the strife and the conflict starts. So, bhratrun dharayati iti daraha. Many years back, when I was young, I had seen a Marathi drama called Vegla Vhaitsay Mala. And that was based on this. Like 3 brothers were there staying in one family, but one gets married and the wife says, Vegla Vhaitsay Mala. I want to say separate. So she is the one who breaks apart, separates the brothers, and therefore bhratrun dharayati iti daraha. So dareshu samanya pratipurvakamiyam drishyatvaya. So I don't expect any special treatment for her. Whatever gaurava, whatever stri dakshinya, courtesy you show for your other wives, show that to her. So he is like expecting minimal, but he will get maximum. People who ask more, they end up getting very negligible amount, and people who ask very little, they end up getting more than what is expected. Normally this is the rule of dana and adana. So tvaya pratipattihi pade praptau pravruttau gaurave picha. So gaurava, pratipatti here means gaurava. He has quoted Vishwa, the lexicon. Nanu etadrisha premni katham samanya pratipatti ityadi uktam ataha aha. See, if there is so much of love, then why are you expecting the minimum gaurava from him? Therefore he says, bhagyayattamatah param na khalu tad vachyam vadhu bandhubhi. Whatever is minimum requirement for every wife from her husband, that respect you give her. Other than that, more than that, is bhagyayattam. Atah param vadhu bandhubhihi na vachyam. It should not be asked, it should not be demanded by the relatives of the bride. Vadhu bandhuvi, vadvaha, bandhavaha. Even now, the vadhu paksha and vara paksha, there is little bit of inferiority, so to say, in the for the vadhu paksha, because they have to take care of the vara paksha. Vara paksha may demand anything, even now in the 21st century. Think of Kalidasa's days. And therefore, vadhu bandhubhihi, the relatives of the vadhu, they should not demand or ask or expect anything more. If their daughter gets more than the minimum expectation they are aspiring, it is her bhagya. Okay? She is so blessed that she gets more than what we expect her to get. Yataha vayam vadhu bandhavaha asmad uchyamanam tu pakshapatitaya paryavasannam sad audasinyameva gamayet iti bhavaha. If we ask more, then the varapaksha may not like it. They may be passive for they won't give a very patient ear to listen to us, and they would say what they are demanding, as if we don't know how to treat the girls in our house, So there will be some audasinya. Atra maya etat na vaktavyam iti visheshe prastute samanya vachanam tena aprastuta prashamsa. And therefore there is aprastuta prashamsa alankara also here. Kim tarhitat bhagyayattam. Other than this, I am expecting samanya pratipatti purvakamiyam drishya tvaya dareshu. Okay? Above that, if there is something, it is bhagyayattam daivayattam. And therefore, we should not be talking about it. We should not be asking for it. We should not be demanding it. Na khalu tadvachyam vadhu bandhuvi. Okay, so this is a very nice verse, and even now to certain extent vadhu bandhavaha, they don't speak of much, what they expect for their daughter to be, daughter to get in a husband's house. At the most they would say, no, she is in service, so please take care that she goes to office at right time, and sometimes her office timings are too long, so just bear with her, samanya pratipatti. But then what inside they would be aspiring is, you take care, she goes very early and comes very late, so keep the food ready when she comes, but that they can't say. My daughter won't be able to come back home and cook, so the mother-in-law has to cook for her. Now all these are not the things which are said publicly. Then that will go reverse, that will be contradictory, and therefore even now they intend to speak but they won't. So this is just in a lighter vein. Okay, so grihitas sandeshah, Sharangrava says, yes, I have taken this message. Now Kashyapa says, this is the message for Dushyanta. Now he has to give some message to Shakuntala as well. Vatse, tvamidanim anushasaniya asi. O Vatse, O daughter, now you are also to be instructed. Anushasaniya, you are fit to get an instruction. Anushasaniya, this is Anu plus Shasa, this is Nijanta and Vidyartha, potential passive participle. Okay, so Anushasaniya asi. And then he says, Vanaukasopi santaha laukikadnya vayam. Though we are staying in forest, Vanaukasaha pisantaha laukikadnyaha or lokadnyaha. There is another variation, lokadnyaha vayam or laukikadnyaha vayam. Vanaukasaha, okas is house, abode. Okas is house or abode. And we have the word like divaukasaha, for example, for gods, dyuhu, eva, dyulokaha, eva, okaha, yeshamte, divaukasaha. In the Shankara Bhashya, there is an adhikarana, arbhakaukastva adhikarana, where it is said that the Angushthamatraha Purushaha Hritpundarike Vasati. Hritpundarika is such a small house for the Vibhu Atma, right? Arbhakaukastva. Arbhaka, very small, tiny. So this tiny house is there, the Hritpundarika, our heart, where this Angushtamatra Purusha stays. We say that the heart of every person is of the measure of his fist, right? And this Angushta goes inside, so Angushtamatra Purusha stays. So this is called the tiny house. What I mean to say is Okas is house. Okay. So Vanaukasaha Vanam eva Okaha Yeshamte. So though we are foresters, we are conversant. We know Jnaha. What? Laukika or Loka. Loka, the outer world, and Laukika, whatever happens in the Loka. Laukikam, lokasya idam iti laukikam. Okay. Loke bhavam iti laukikam. So laukikadnyaha vayam. Instead of lokadnyaha, laukikadnyaha seems better. So we know what are the practicalities and how people behave in the mundane world. So though we live in forest, we are aware of all the worldly things. That's what he says. Sharangrava says, Na khalu dhimatam kaschid avishayo nama. Obviously, for dhimantaha, for the dhiman people, for the buddhiman people, there is nothing which is asprishta by them, nothing which is inaccessible to them. And though Kashyapa is a vanechara, vanaukasa, still he will be conversant with all the laukika things. And then Kashyapa says, Sa tvam, that you, Sa. See, only that pronoun Sa. Kidrushi Sa, who has been dear to me, who has been reared up by me right when she was an infant and she was, discarded, and she was taken care of by the Shakunta, by the birds, right from naming her, right from growing her up, nourishing her, taking care of her, and then assigning all the responsibilities of the hermitage on her. So many things are there. So Sa is not just a pronoun. Sa speaks of volumes. Titu. Titu. Ti gives the entire life journey of Shakuntala till now. She has not moved away from the ashrama till now. Okay, Satvam. So Sa is very, very important. He could have said Tvam itaha patikulam prapya. After going to Patikula, from here, you should do this, you should do that, and you should not do that. He should have given that, but Sa, there is an addition of Sa that is very, very significant. So it gives, the entire life history, how many difficulties there must have been in nurturing her up and, taking care of her. So many things are there which cannot be summed up in a minute, but that Sa sums it up all. Satvam itaha patikulam prapya. What you should do? Shushrushasva gurun kuru priya sakhi vrittim sapatni jane bhartrur viprakrita piroshanataya masma pratipangamaha भूयिष्ठं भव दक्षिणा परिजने भाग्येष्वनुत्सेकिनी यान्त्येवं गृहिणी पदं युवतयो वामः कुलस्याधयः. We'll see the verse next time. Just read it and try to absorb the meaning. This is one of the best advices you can say given by a father to his daughter when she goes to her husband's place. Even now, many of the things, not perhaps, sapatni jana and all that, because now, what is that? Dvibharya Pratibandhaka Kaida for at least the Hindus, and therefore there are no more co-wives, no possibility of co-wives, but then all other things are true even now. So this is something like a universal advice given by a father to his married daughter, which holds good even today. So with this we stop here, and we'll see exactly what is the advice and how relevant it is even in the modern age. We'll see it next time. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.